So the last video I talked about how the Lord started changing my life at Azusa Pacific University. And I had this interaction with him where he challenged me about who I was without baseball and who my actual God was. So it was probably maybe a week later, I have this dream. And in this dream, Elijah comes down from heaven, and I can just see the sky is just beautiful. The clouds are amazing, and it's just these colors are extremely vibrant, like colors I haven't seen before. And he comes down with this huge keychain where he is handing out keys to heaven. And I see around me, there's just this sea of people, just like millions, hundreds of millions of people. And we're all standing there waiting for a key. And I remember thinking, this is it. Like, this is Judgment Day. This is like, today's the day where I find out whether I go to heaven or not. And he's handing keys out, and people are ascending to heaven, and he's handing them out and handing them out and handing them out. And in this dream, it was a long time. And I start looking around me, and there's still a significant number of people around me, but there's fewer and fewer keys on the keychain. And I can feel my anxiety start to build. And it finally comes down to the last key. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, the fear just rolled through me. I'm thinking, I didn't make it. Like, I'm going to hell. And I didn't give this my all. And he turns and he looks at me, and he hands me the last key. And he says, why just make it in? See, at that point, the depth of my walk was, I was just afraid to go to hell. I wanted to do just enough to make it to heaven, yet still do what I wanted to do and live in my sin in the areas that I had wanted to not yield yet. And what I realized in that moment was Jesus was my Savior, and that was it. That was the depth of my walk. My commitment to him was just enough to get to heaven because I was afraid of hell. That was the depth of my faith in him. It was I was using him to go to heaven. That was it. And what I realized in that dream, and as I walked away from that dream and processed through that, is Jesus needs to be my Lord. He needs to, because I was using him to get to heaven, but the reality is that's not how it should be. My walk needs to be deeper than that, because he loved me so much that he paid the price that he paid for me, that my walk needs to be a resolved walk. It needs to be a walk that whatever he asks me to do, my obedience needs to be there, because it proves how much I love to him. It has nothing to do with what I get out of it. It has everything to do with what he has done for me. And that dream was a catapult. That dream was a significant transition point for me in my walk. But the Lord had to break me of my earthly desires and my earthly passions, like especially around baseball, for him to capture my heart and to say, this is how much I love you. Now it's time for us to get a bit deeper in your walk now. So follow me. Drop your nets. I mean, it's the same thing. It's kind of like when he told the disciples, drop your nets and follow me. That's what that dream did for me. It was this refining time frame of letting baseball go and making the choice to follow him as a resolved commitment that you are my Lord and I will follow you no matter what you ask me to do.